Good evening. This is Teresa. I'm coming to you tonight to render a selection. Um, this song I'm going to sing to you is a song that really speaks to my heart. It talks about giving God glory and that no foreign God can take your place. So here it is. We give you glory. We give you glory. We give you glory. Oh Lord. Master Jesus, we give you glory. Jesus, Jesus, we give you glory. Yes, we give you glory. Oh Lord. No foreign God can take your place. No foreign God can take your place. No foreign God can take your place. It's you that I love. It's you that I love. No foreign God can take your place. No foreign God can take your place. No foreign God can take your place. It's you that I love. It's you that I love. We give you glory. We give you glory. We give you glory. Oh Lord. Master Jesus, we give you glory. Jesus, Jesus, we give you glory. Yes, we give you glory. Oh Lord. Thank you.
Good evening to each of you, and I want to welcome you to an amazing sequel or spinoff to A Father's Love Language. What are we communicating to our children? We now have the honor this evening of speaking life, love, honor, and hearings from some amazing women inside of motherhood and building a legacy, which is something so powerful and beautiful. So to start this forum off, I would ask that you all pause for a moment and bow your heads for a word of prayer. Oh, Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening with humble hearts, gratitude on our lips, and praise inside of all of our being. We are just so thankful for everything that is and everything that is going to be. Lord, in this climate, we ask that you endow us with your grace, your mercy, and your goodness. Empower us to always exhibit the goodness within us. Empower us and endow us also to role model the best that is your requirement and your mandate. Lord, I ask you to bless everybody that is affiliated with this panel this evening. Bless Jacoby in his capacity as the orchestrator being led and guided by you. Bless all of these women in their individual places, distinctively and collectively. May the words that come forth be powerful, healing, educational, inspirational, and may we all be better for the time spent together this evening. In Jesus' name, amen. My name is Sabrina Harris, and I'm honored once again to be the moderator for this amazing series of events. I have spoken at length with Jacoby, and I see his heart inside of creating forums that are convenient, that are powerful, and that project the goodness of what is represented in our community. And with that understanding, I'm going to now transition to him for him to share about his organization, Young Men of Distinction, in addition to the newly birthed Gentlemen of Distinction, and what he would like to say to set the stage for this evening. So, Jacoby, I redirect to you.
First of all, I am Jacoby. I am the founder and CEO and many other titles of Young Men of Distinction, as well as Gentlemen of Distinction. And I would like to thank everyone for attending the first and many other parts of a mother's legacy. I'd like to again thank these lovely mothers that are on this panel this evening. I'd like to also thank Miss Teresa, who has blessed us with song, and she will be back again later on to bless us with song again. And I'd like to again thank her for singing on such short notice. But everybody out there, please listen to these lovely mothers. Be touched by their stories. To be able to read their bios, to learn a little bit about them. Tonight is actually a treat for me because this will be the first event I get to kind of just really sit back and let these lovely queens there will be here to take over the event. I'm just here to help support them and to support Miss Sabrina as well for being able to orchestrate such a lovely event this evening. So I thank you again for everybody attending and everybody enjoy this lovely event.
Thank you, Jacoby, for those words of inspiration. And I want to begin to set the stage. Many of you probably this evening revisiting us are already aware of kind of how things flow. But for the women on the panel this evening, this is the general flow of how things will be laid out for you. I typically ask questions directly, but I've been praying about the questions and the nature of this event. And experiential, God emphasized that as a part of this, that one question may resonate more with one individual than the other. So what I'm going to do is, instead of specifically asking you a question directly, I'm going to ask the question. And then I want you to simply raise your hand and identify if you would like to answer the question. That's going to allow you to connect with the question, reach in and dig deep from your experience, and really give us some good, rich substance. 2 minutes is a target point. We want to give everyone an opportunity to be able to express themselves, but we're going to have to keep to a specific time. So if you could keep it to 2 minutes or less, we would greatly appreciate it. I am honored that you all were okay with being unscripted. I believe in being authentic and genuine. So if there's anything about the question that you do not understand, by all means, don't push yourself into the realm of just answering or giving us something. I can repeat it or I can reconstruct it and we'll represent it again. And now, I want to just say, take a few deep breaths in and out. And I just want you to get ready. The theme is powerful when you're thinking motherhood and creating a legacy. And I want to say a lot of this is educational, because when higher education is talked about, people are thinking we're going to college, university, classroom, research papers, examinations, all of these different things. But your experience and the individuals around you are your higher education within itself to be able to teach people. So a mother's legacy, virtuous, blessed, and highly favored. May the works that I've done speak for me. May the life that I've lived speak for me. And may the service that I've given speak for me. So what I'm going to allow each of you the opportunity to do, beginning with Cassandra, is to introduce yourselves. And for the sake of this forum with so many people inside of it, if you're not speaking, we're going to ask you, would you please mute your mic? And when you're ready to speak, just simply unmute yourself. So with that, Cassandra Cherry, if you could go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Sure. Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. I am honored to be here. I am Cassandra. I am the founder and president of a 501c3 called the Ark of Noah here in Dallas, Texas. I am a mother of a 4-year-old son called Noah. So obviously the organization is named after him, and maybe we'll get into that a little bit later, but I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Queen, and welcome. We're going to continue on with the lady of all of this, and that would be the beautiful Jennifer Waters. If you would go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jennifer Waters. If you can tell by going by my last name, I am the wife of Jacoby Waters. I had to beg to be on this one, but it worked. I just feel like as a mother, you have so many stories, you have so many just experiences, when you started, and where you at this point. I am the treasurer on Jacoby Waters, many organizations. Young men of this, sorry, he's gonna kill me for this one, chopping up his, I'm sorry, I'm so nervous, of his organization. So it's Young Men of Distinction, Gentlemen of Distinction. He's working on quite a few others. So I'm just grateful, and I've been grateful of being here and wanting to hear everyone else's stories. Thank you.
Thank you, Queen. We honor you in your capacity. If I say Miss in front of your name, it is because I do not want to incorrectly pronounce your first name. So, Miss Taylor, if you could please unmute and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, everyone. It's an honor to be here. My name is Shondrea Taylor. I am the mother of 4 babies. I am the founder of Like a Rose, and it is founded after my 3rd daughter, Adeline, who was born sleeping November 1st, 2018. And so I'm so honored to be here and share my story of motherhood and life after loss and motherhood. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, Queen. We welcome you. And Sonja Gilbert, Queen, would you please unmute and introduce yourself?
Hello, good evening, ladies. My name is Sonja Gilbert. I'm the Vice President of Young Men of Distinction and the cousin of Jacoby Waters. I'm the mother of 2 sons, Javian and Jordan, 20 and 17, almost empty nest. I work full-time and at state attorney's office, as well as part-time in the convention center. And in my other time, I'm working with Young Men of Distinction and Gentlemen of Distinction. And it's a privilege for me to be on here with all of you lovely ladies. Thank you.
Thank you. We welcome you, Queen. Thank you very much.
You too.
Tamika Smith, would you unmute and introduce yourself to us?
Good evening, ladies. My name is Tamika Smith. I'm the founder of Promise Gardens Incorporated, mother of 4, grandmother as of last Friday of 2. So yay, I got a new legacy, just started, turning 1 week today. I'm certainly honored to be among you all, lovely ladies. Miss Sabrina Harris, don't know, I followed you years back when I lived in Revere, so it's a pleasure to see you again. And I'm just honored to be here and looking forward to hearing the stories of your motherhood and your legacies that you're leaving for your little ones.
Thank you, Queen, and that we say congratulations. That is certainly the beginning of something very beautiful. Devanya Reed, unmute yourself and introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone. I am Devanya Reed. I am the founder and executive director of Welcome to the Number 2, the Queendom. It is a nonprofit organization. We empower young girls. I am the mother of 4 grown men. I can't call them boys because they are adults. So I am an empty nester. I can share some things about that. And I also can relate to Shondrea. This is where I had 4 little ones at one time. So I'm excited about tonight. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Queen. We welcome you. And certainly last but not least, we're going to ask Miss Taylor to introduce herself. Please unmute and introduce yourself. Neasia Morris.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I'm not sure who that is. Good evening, ladies. I am grateful to be here. Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you, Jacoby, for having me. My name is Nisia. I am the CEO and founder of PALS. I was a young parent, so I decided to create a nonprofit organization for young parents, and I'm just grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you very much. So let's remember that the presentation, the questions are very general. If it resonates with you and you want to respond, simply raise your hand and I'm going to keep track of that. 2-minute time frame. As much as you can, please also infuse your experience because that's going to help the audience connect with the question. And we'll begin. Building a legacy requires sacrifice. A mother's needs need to become secondary to her children, meaning we always put ourselves aside, not even just for our children, but for our families as well. So when you hear the word sacrifice inside of motherhood, what would you like to share? And would you attach an experience so we'll have an example of what it means to sacrifice inside of motherhood? Is there anyone who would like to answer that? All right, Jennifer, I saw your hand first. I'll mute and you can go ahead and respond.
I think when it comes to the terms of sacrifice, especially when it has to do with your children, um, when a school call or when there's a doctor's appointment or when when there's certain things that is going on with a child, they automatically think of mom, not necessarily thinking of if there is a dad there, but they say mom, they're going to call mom. And I think as a mother, even if something is going on and your husband or your spouse can't be there, you automatically in your mind think you're going to be the one that's going to be left out. You kind of, it's not, I don't want to say left out, but you're the one that's going to be taking care of the child 24 hours. Dad can have some type of alleviate and do what he probably wants to do or what he planned to do. So I think sacrificing of the time, that is a bad thing. It's just something that just, as a mother, it's more of it's expected. And I don't find it to be a bad thing at all. It's just that it's something that you in society see is mom does it, not dad, if I make any sense.
Thank you very much for that response. And I do co-sign the understanding that sacrifice is not a bad thing. It's actually something that causes us to be selfless instead of self-fed. So we're giving to our children, our families, our communities. Many of you have established organizations and businesses. So sacrifice is truly a beautiful thing. Thank you, Jennifer. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to the sacrifice of motherhood and building a legacy? Devanya, I saw your hand next.
I was a young mom, just like Nisha. So I was a teen when I had my children. So when we talk about sacrifice, the fact that I had always wanted to be a certain type of mom, I knew that I wanted to be a certain type of mom. I knew I wanted to be present. I knew that I wanted to be hands-on, and I was a teenager. I was 17 when I had my first son. So now that I'm still young, my sons like to say, I'm still kind of a young mom. Now is the time where now I get to kind of live, right? Because my whole life was really built around being a mom and taking care of my 4 boys for the most part. Didn't really know until my last son left and I was an empty nester. Like, what is it that I'm going to do with my life? Who am I without being a mom? So I made a lot of sacrifices being a mom, but I wanted to make those sacrifices because I wanted a certain type of life for my boys. And I basically gave up my childhood because I was a teenage mom, right? I was still growing, being a young woman when a lot of young women were out dating, partying, in the clubs and maybe traveling. Those are things that I do now that I wasn't able to do when I was younger because I was a mom.
That is beautiful, Devanya, and thank you very much. Because when I listed some bullet points thinking about sacrifice, school education was on that list. Employment, a certain type of job was on that list. Travel and entertainment was on that list. Even monetary gain to some degree was on that list. A lot that we sacrifice to make sure that our children have, and then we reinvent ourselves as life progresses. So I completely agree with you. Neisha, I pray I'm saying that correctly. I saw your hand, Queen. You're next.
Yeah. Yes. So for me, I had 1 year left in college when I was pregnant with my son. And so I was surrounded by the same things you were surrounded with as well. So I had to I had to choose. I had to choose if I wanted to have a better life for myself and my son, or if I wanted to go ahead and party and drop out of school. But I changed my mindset and I sacrificed the partying. I sacrificed just being able to be out with friends to make sure that I had the right environment and mindset to, provide what I needed for my son. So I feel like when you sacrifice the right things at the right time, you are able to provide, you are able to have a temporary sacrifice for a bigger goal. So I feel like sacrifice is huge when you do it the right way.
Wow, that's very powerful. And I love that you emphasize mindset. Because to be honest with you, things pass away that were in your life before when you become a mother. And you have to develop a whole new psyche, a whole new scheme and consideration. And the child is innocent, so it's your responsibility because you are the conduit for bringing this child into the world. So it is definitely your responsibility. Sacrifice is layered through motherhood. And to be honest with you, it never ends. Because I say that to the ones who say, whoo, my child is almost 18. And I'm like, that's when it really starts. I'm like, it doesn't end at that point. So that's the consideration, that sacrifice is a beautiful thing. Thank you, ladies, who've spoken to that particular question. Is there anyone else who wants to give some level of wisdom in that regard? All right, I saw Sonja next and Tamika after her. Go ahead, Sonja.
Sacrifice is something that, as a mom, naturally, I think a lot of us do. I remember when I have my two sons, and I've been a single parent, and they're now 17 and 20. And I remember I wanted to make sure that I had them to put God first, and I kept them busy. So from the time they were 6 years old, we were doing soccer, flag football, basketball, Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts. And I was, doing all these things and working full time. And then when they got in the drum line, I would sacrifice different things to go with them to travel, to the classic, things like that. I made a point that I wanted to make sure that they came first, and everything else, it would just have to wait, because kids don't ask to be brought here. So the matter of fact, they say it to me a lot. They're like, Mom, I appreciate the sacrifice that you made for us. So that word to me is very special, because we sacrifice when we carry them 9 months in our stomach, going through the labor pains and whatnot. And I just, I think it's a sacrifice is a very important thing as far as being a mom.
Wow, Sonja, you hit it right on the head for me, because I was thinking about childbirth. I'm like, what greater sacrifice? And I promised myself after I had my first daughter, I'm saying, oh, that's it. Labor pains and everything else. And I went for 2 and 3. So we gently forget about all of that, or we count it as love when our body changes and we go through all these different emotions. I deal with a lot of women with postpartum depression. So it's not easy. So the sacrifice is beautiful. Come on, Tamika, give us a good word about sacrifice.
Well, when I hear the word sacrifice, the first thing comes to mind is childhood for me. I've been on my own since 15. So now you imagine 9th grade education, raising 4 children. By the time I was 20 or 21, I was raising 4 children. And I didn't have time to say, I want to be a child. I had to think about their childhood. I can go on and on when it comes to that, but I can honestly say the most recent sacrifice I had to do, and it's not cute at all, but a prison sentence. And I'm going to be really candid with you when I say this. I would do it again when it comes to my children. I can't stress enough the fact that the incident that occurred, it had to do with my children's well-being. And I got right in front of the judge and was like, look, my children, I couldn't say anything else. That was my defense. If nobody else spoke up for me, the word that I can appeal to you, Your Honor, is my children. And will I do it again, sir? Please don't ask me that question. Now my son is 24. My daughter is going on 22. I have a 20-year-old, and I have a soon-to-be 18-year-old. I'm blessed to have 3 high school diplomas and a straight A senior student right now. And I'm grateful for the things Not necessarily the journey that I took, because it took a lot out of me. And I wish I can tell you that this journey was pretty, but baby, it's a book and it was not pretty. But what I can tell you is that my pencil is yet sharpening, and it is sharpening with these 4 and these 2.
Thank you, Tamika. And I want to say, I feel you. And I feel the authenticity of words that you're saying. Because if we keep it real, beyond scripture, which is beautiful, and biblical teachings about how to be in the context of a parent, it's really, we are left to what we're faced with or what was given to us in childhood rearing. But is there a distinctive book or pathway? No, we figure it out and we grow through what we go through. So it's so beautiful that you're willing to say that it was not easy and it was not perfect, but I can say through it all, I made it, my children made it, and we're doing well. So that's a beautiful testament. Thank you for being honest. I love that about you. Before we transition on, is there anything else about sacrifice? Yes, Miss Taylor, go right ahead.
So for me, my sacrifice looks a little bit differently. I don't think that I really knew sacrifice until I lost a child. And when I lost Adeline, I had 2 other children who were about to be 3 and 1 years old at the time. So in a sense, I had to sacrifice my emotions and I had to sacrifice myself because I still had 2 living children who needed me. And so my sacrifice looked a little bit different in that there were times when I wanted to cry, but I had to keep it together because I had to go make breakfast, or I had to get them ready for preschool or take them to daycare, those types of things that I still had to be present for my children. So for me, my sacrifice was I had to sacrifice myself and what I thought, well, I knew that I needed, but I just had to put it aside for a moment just to be present for my children and my family still at home. So that was my sacrifice.
Wow, and you actually swung the pendulum on that. Self-sacrifice. That's amazing, and that is very true. And it's going to swing right into the next question that I asked. But we are always presented as the backbone and that strength, almost like we're superwoman, superheroes in a sense. And we are just as much in need. So hold on to that thought for the next question. But we're going to round this out with Cassandra. I see you, Queen. Speak to us.
Thank you. I'll be brief just to kind of piggyback off of that. For me, my sacrifice was I had children a little later in life. So I got to have my childhood, my teenage years, my college years, and I was the very independent, relocated multiple times with my company on that corporate ladder. And then I have a child, and that completely changes things when you have to add in the narrative of daycare and being able to be off at a certain time. So I can't spend that excess time at work like I used to when it was just me, because I want to climb this corporate ladder. Now it's complete cutoff. You have to be gone by this time because you got to pick your kid up by this time. And so for me, when I think about the sacrifice, I think about the fact that it's the selfless piece, just like you all have said. It's very selfless. And so now I'm not so focused. I'm still focused on my career, but it looks completely different than what it did pre-Noah completely. So that'll be my piece that I'll share on sacrifice.
All your comments were beautiful. And I'm going to close this particular question out with the profound quote that I encountered. But I want to say this: never stop sacrificing. Just make sure that you don't deplete yourself. But to the children listening, to the companions listening, to the colleagues listening, for all these amazing women and women out there all over the world who are sacrificing, I leave this with you on that. Perhaps one day they'll understand all the sacrifices she gladly made out of love for them. We sacrifice in the name of love, and women do it well. So thank you, queens, represented on this panel and far beyond, for the sacrifices that you made. Transitioning into question number 2. Motherhood is heavily touted. I said they call us the backbone, the undergirth, and all of these things that we give. We're the fixer, the healer, the nurturer, the prayer warrior. We're all of these things. So we're always giving. And people easily miss that we need or that we are silently screaming. So a lot of times we have to take care of ourselves, Queen, and that's very important. So I want to put the question out there for you to think about and answer. What do you do or have done to refill your cup? I'm not saying relying on other people to give you words of encouragement or different things like that. I want to know what you have done or what you do to make sure for as much as you pour out that your cup is refilled. Who would like to speak to that? Shondrea, go right ahead.
So for me, I realized that when I was at the end of my rope and just felt like I had nothing left to give, I realized that what I was going through was a lot bigger than me. And so I reached out for help. And so the biggest thing that has saved my life and helped me to remind myself that I matter too is I went to therapy, and I've been in therapy for 2 years now. And it has literally changed my life. It allows me to get things out that I necessarily can't talk about with my children or my husband or my grandparents, my parents. I have that safe place to really pour out and express what I need. And then she's able to then help me figure out ways to take care of myself. So I've started writing. I do a lot of writing. I do the adult coloring books. She's given me a lot of techniques and tools just to really take a step back and just remember that Drea matters too. And as much as you want to help everyone around you, if you're not okay, nothing in your life will be okay. And so that's what I did for myself was I went to therapy, and it literally has changed my entire life.
Wow, Queen, that's a whole public service announcement. Yes, mental health professional here, I strongly tout therapy. And you said it very eloquently that it is a safe place. When you connect with a professional who understands you and creates that environment and allows you to exhale and go through different things, it is a beautiful reality. And it's something I encourage most people to do because we all need support. It doesn't always have to be that you're mentally breaking down or you're emotionally broken. It just simply means you're being proactive instead of reactive. And you also said, Queen, that you write. Expressive writing, creative writing is an amazing outlet. And catch this, that's where your books come from. So start journaling. Start putting your thoughts to paper and looking over it and revisiting it and reflecting. And absolutely, art is an amazing and creative outlet. So thank you, Queen. Refilling your cup. I saw Cassandra. You'll go next, and then we'll go to Sonja. Go ahead, Cassandra.
Thank you. And I totally agree with the therapy piece. Absolutely amazing. But one thing that I do is I accept help. I am someone that has, like I said earlier, just been very, very independent. And so oftentimes you may have your family or even your friends that may offer that help, and you just feel like you have to take it all on. You have to do everything. So I've just learned to accept the help when it's being offered. And then just on a fun side, once a quarter, I have an all about me day. So that can mean I'm taking off work. I'm going to get my nails done. I'm taking myself to a movie. I just fall back in love with me at least at a minimum once a quarter. I make it a commitment to make the time for myself.
Woo, all about me day. That's a t-shirt. I'm just saying, go ahead and somebody print it up and put it out there. I'm on my all about me day. That means leave me alone, let me be. But yes, Queen, accept the help. We have this superwoman thing going on that we have to do it all. We have to do it well. We have to get it done. And you have all of these people over here. You can delegate. Just because you delegate does not mean that you're not capable. It means that you're wise. And yes, love on you, reinvest in you, give yourself time. And my time is the early morning when the whole house is still and everyone is asleep. That's my time. My time with God, meditation, prayer, writing, whatever it is, that's my time. So remember to love on you. How beautiful is that? Thank you so much, Cassandra. Come on, Sonja. I see it. Come on, give us a good word.
What I've started doing is praying and going for walks especially in the evening times, and I'm getting ready to start walking in the morning times. I started feeling like I was like an ATM machine. Everyone was withdrawing from my life and not depositing from my life. But then I learned that people are only going to do what you allow them to do. And I was like that superwoman, feeling like, okay, let me help all these people. Let me help all these people. And then it started to get to the point where I'm like, well, wait a minute, what about me? And now I've learned to fill my cup by having prayer, asking God for direction. And he said, I need you to meditate on me and start taking care of you. So with me having these walks, I've been feeling so much better. I have more energy. I'm loving on me. And I'm like the young lady said, sometimes I'll take what I call a mental day. Like I'll just take a day off from work and I would do absolutely nothing but just relax. Maybe go outside and get a little bit fresh air and then come back in the house and just relax and meditate.
Very powerful. I see you, ladies. We're going to Tamika and then Devanya afterwards. I just want to say that prayer is powerful. The Bible teaches us that much prayer is much power, much power. So when you pause, and even when you're making a big decision or things are chaotic and you're stressed out, an easy way is to pause and just give that right over to God. We carry a lot of things that we don't need to carry. Just give it to God and ask him to order your steps. Ask him to invoke peace into the process. Ask him to give you what you need, and he will do that. No, Queen, we're not an ATM. How about that? Now that's a word. You always taking out, but you never putting back in. In the name of Jesus. Boundary and balance. It's okay to say no. Say no in love. I try to do it as loving as I can. I thank you for considering me, but no, I'm not going to be. That's so beautiful, isn't it? And it feels good when you know that you're stressed or you're to the maximum. Oh, okay. I know you need, but I need to. I need to, sis. And today is no, and I'm okay with that. Walk. Exercise is beautiful. With COVID-19, if it's kept us inside and so sequestered and so antisocial, I see individuals on the walks that I've started to do, and it's just a wave. It's, hey, how you doing? Or talking to people. I don't have to be close up on you, but let us not lose the ability to be connected with each other. That is so good. All right, Tamika, speak to us, and then Devanya.
Self-care is honestly something I had to learn along the journey. Being okay with not being okay was something I had to be taught. And to be completely honest, my children is where I learned that from. Just to think about, I believe the scripture says that you come to him as a child. And sometimes if I think about things that children do, it'll speak to me. Sometimes children throw tantrums. Guess what? We get mad at them for throwing tantrums, but you know what? We feel like throwing tantrums sometimes. And now I'm learning to pull from my wellness toolbox. I have to take out a moment. I have to take something out of that box. Okay, now this day is chaotic. So what did I do yesterday that I didn't do today that I can do differently to make this okay in this moment? So when I started really paying attention to what triggered me, then I was able to offset it and also allowing myself to be broken. I used my whole life with being this tough guy. Oh, I'm hard as nails. I can't afford to break down because I got children looking at me. My firstborn was a son. I had a boy. He ain't got no dad. I'm mom and daddy, so I had to portray that, toughen up. I had to portray that. But after a while, it gets heavy. That load gets heavy, and the scripture says it for a reason. Put that yoke upon me, take my yoke, for my yoke is easy. And I had to learn that, to say, okay, Lord, let me have your peace for my pain. Let me have your pleasure for my displeasure. I had to learn that. I had to learn to get broken in his presence. I had to learn about those 30-minute bath times. Yep, shut the door, lock it, light my candle. I don't know who mama is, but when she get here, I let her know that y'all need her. I had to get there. And I've even adopted that into my organization. What I do at least twice, maybe 3 times a month, I put together a self-care wellness basket and I just give it to a mother. They don't even know it's coming. I just give it to them. This is for you. That moment that you need to breathe, when everybody's walking around saying, I can't breathe, baby, breathe. We need to breathe. We need your breath. I need your breath to make it through. So that's what I just started learning, that we depend on each other. Even if it's just a smile, if we're so broke that we can't smile at someone else and don't know what they're going through, we'll be in trouble. So that's what I just started relying on. Somebody else needs this, Tamika. Even though you feeling like you can't do it, somebody needs this. So, yeah.
Let the church say amen and amen again. I bells and whistles over here. And y'all gonna get out of my head because you led right into the next question, but I'm gonna put that on pause and I gotta respond because it's a thing that I say and it's a mantra that it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to stay there. So that's giving you an opportunity to say, I'm gonna be human and honor my feelings and I'm not feeling it right now, but I'm gonna get it together. So that's when you go into your prayer closet. That's when you go into your bathroom. That's when you take that walk and do it. But it's okay not to be okay. You don't always have to have it together. And to be honest, everybody who always have it together is not being honest. We don't always have it together. And catch this, Tamika. You brought this to mind because I talk about this all the time. We teach people how to treat us. So if you don't never need no help, if everybody who offer everything to you, you never accept it. If you always got your game face on, what does that lead people to think and believe? That you're fine. And that is not the case. So you want to build that tribe, that circle of people that you can trust, they're pouring back into you and you can be honest with them. And your wellness toolbox. That's going to lead into our next question. But I want to end this before I go to Devanya with, we're not going to be broken into pieces, Queen. When we break, we're going to break open. That's how God is able to reach in and expose and pull out the best in us. But we're not going to be constantly around here trying to pick up pieces and put things back the way they was, and we can't glue them right and we can't get it right. We break open for the beauty inside. Come on, Devanya, give us the good word.
I'm listening to Tamika and I can totally relate to her because the strength part, what we're showing people on the outside and being strong. You had 1 boy, I had 4. So even to this day, I can say people always believe that I'm okay. That's just the face that I've always had to wear and I always wear. So I'm going to be honest in this moment in that I don't typically ask for help. I don't typically show my weaknesses to people. I do not. But that's the way. And I'm so glad we're having this conversation because it's not okay, right? It's not. I should be able to. I should let down my guard. And I do, but I won't do it in public. I won't show you. You'll never know. But that's not healthy. There should be someone you should be able to talk to. Someone you can open up with and let it out. And I talk to God. I do. I trust him. So I have a lot of issues myself in that building those trust relationships. But I do want to say that when my sons were younger, one thing that I would do is they had a bad bedtime. And their bedtime was 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, you're down, you're asleep. I had you all day. You have to go to sleep. So when they went to bed, that was my time to take a bath. That was my time to relax. That was the time that I used to kind of regroup, to get myself back together and get back in the game for the next day. But as my sons are now adults, I always say that parenting doesn't start. It just looks different. And I believe it's harder to parent adult children. I do. I believe it because I see you shaking your head. I believe it because you really don't have any input on anything they do. So what I've learned to do is pray. I said, I can't internalize it. At the end of the day, these are adult people and they get to make decisions about their own lives. So how do I keep my own peace? Is that I have to pray and I have to give it to God and pray that he leads them, on the path or on so that they're okay and they're making decisions that are good for them and not the ones that I want. But it's more difficult parenting older children. I just believe that. So, but now I just have to let them go and believe that God, he's got them because they have a praying mama.
Absolutely. And honor what you've invested inside of them. It's only so far that anyone can take an individual. That person has to pick up the baton and become independent. But I love that you emphasize trust, because trust is not to be misplaced. When we break ourselves open and we begin to unveil and purge ourselves, it's not just with anybody. It's with people who've proven themselves and we deem them trustworthy. And you said it perfectly that prayer institutes a lot of that. I tell people before you establish or as you're establishing your close circle, pray over these individuals. Ask God for discernment to be able to determine, are they really for you? Are they really good for you? And can you really bear your all and be okay and comfortable? And Nicia, is there anything that you want to say before we close this out, Queen?
Yes, I'll be really, really quick. But for me, when it came to filling my cup up, I had to be aware of my emotions. The moment that I was aware of my emotions, I understood what it took to make sure that I was at a better stage. So if I felt empty, I knew I had to take a long bath to meditate. And then through meditation, God will speak to me where I might need to have someone that is around me that is positive. And my mom is always positive. So I might give her a call or I might work out depending on if I feel stressed. So I had to be aware of my emotions. And based off of my emotions, I knew what to do as time went on. But it was a journey. It was a journey to figure out what did I need. I had to protect my energy. I had to figure out what emotions am I feeling and what helps that emotion. So
beautiful, Queen. Protect your energy, protect your space, and honor your emotions. And remember that your emotions are tied to what you're thinking, your thought process. If your thought process is positive, you're better able to control your emotions and control yourself. Wow. Jacoby, I hope you're scribing or you have someone scribing here because this is amazing. Jennifer, I want to go to you. Is there anything you want to say, Queen, before I give the quote to end this question?
I actually wasn't going to answer this question. I think because I think Jacoby has given me my outlet to be able to relax and regroup, and not that I had it when I had my first son, not that I had it before, when I had my second. I think when me and Jacoby got together and got married, he gave me a different set of eyes of, oh, this is what this is supposed to feel like. Because before, I didn't know what that was supposed to feel like. I was that mother that took care of everything. And when he was reaching in to help, I was packing his hand away and was like, wait, this is something that mothers should do. But he had to teach me, and I had to talk to my mom and my aunt. She was like, you didn't have that feeling. This is how it's supposed to be. And so Jacoby gives me this outlet of me able to go and do my just anything. Go get my nails done, go get my toes done, just go and take a walk or do whatever I need to do to regroup and not be on that couch and just, I have moments where I'm down and he allows me, to be able to regroup myself. And I'm just thankful for that. So I didn't want to say anything, but honestly, I can say, Jacoby, thank you for being there and being you and allowing me to get there to that spot and be able to say, this is okay.
And I'm actually glad that I did follow my heart and ask you to speak, because that is so beautiful. Our support systems are very important, and it's not to be taken for granted. If you have an amazing spouse or companion that's standing there with you, if you have a relative that's standing there with you, to be honest, it was the supervisor who helped me in one of the most tumultuous times of my life. So it is whoever is there, but I love how you honored your husband. So this was definitely not misplaced. I'm glad you did speak on that, Queen, because we need to honor the people who are loving and honoring us in return. And I'm going to leave you with this quote. A woman's strength isn't just about how much she can handle before she breaks. It's also about how much she must handle after she has been broken. And the writer is J.S. Scott. So before we go into break and bring the beautiful Teresa Davis back for a musical interlude, I'm going to transition into this next question. And Tamika, you set the stage for a toolbox, because we have to have different people, resources, scriptures, different things that we pull from to get us through those trying, difficult, tumultuous moments. I even have scriptures and mantras and quotes for different things that are just inspiration for me on a daily basis. But at any given time, I can reach into my toolbox and pull out things, and I'm constantly adding things. And catch this, I'm constantly deleting things. It's about your season in life. Everything is not relevant as it was several months ago or several years ago. But think about this, please. Let's give the people some good stuff about what should be considered to be in your toolbox as a mother, so that we are not constantly breaking down, but we're breaking open, and we're not only building ourselves up, but we're building each other up. Who would like to speak to this? I knew it, Tamika. I'm like, there's no way. Come on, Queen. Talk about it.
Okay. So definitely scripture. I'm going to say that. I know everybody may not believe the same. However, I would say what has gotten me through. Definitely scripture. I'm also going to say positive affirmation, self-affirmation, believe it or not, because for myself, the fear of failure, oh, that can take you out. The fear of self-doubt, oh, that thing there is a killer. So positive affirmations, definitely. Not being afraid of counsel, definitely not keeping a yes person around you, but someone that, like the scriptures say, almost buffet your flesh. The ones that say, that's wrong. That's no, I can't agree with you there. This is the way I see the way you're doing this and the way you handled this. I don't think this was appropriate. You need someone to be the other voice, not the one that says everything that you do is right. And you need to be able to be open and willing to accept counsel. There is a safety in a multitude of counseling. So I would definitely say, keep your ears open, yet your heart guarded. Let me say that. Your ears open, but your heart guarded, because some things are true that they said it, but it's not necessarily true what they say. So always have that guard when it comes to you, but accept affirmations of yourself. Encourage yourself, because we have been here before. That's the only thing that I can think of. We have been here before. You done had that day that looks like, I just can't make it through this. Oh, but this I can't get through. Think about the last time you said that. Guess what happened? You got through it. So think about the victory. Focus on victory. I keep victory in my toolbox. I don't care what's going on. Let me reach down and pull out a victory. I remember when. Oh, I remember when. I remember when. I remember when I got a death diagnosis. I remember when they diagnosed me with lupus. I remember when they diagnosed me with urinary cancer. I remember. So now I have stuff that I can go back, snatch out and say, oh no, not today. So I would definitely say that's certainly something to keep victory in your toolbox.
Wow, that's powerful. So I'm just going to do a recap because that was a lot in one. But prayer and scripture, you said that is important. Positive affirmations and self-affirmations. So not just any affirmation, but things that speak to your spirit and your being. Be open to wise counsel. Woo! And to not always be looking for the cheerleading section. I love the people who tell me no because I know they're genuine. I love that. Oh, Sabrina, I don't know about that. Not the people that say, "Oh, yeah, that's good." And then I know I don't do everything right all the time. So you're always looking for those people who are going to be saying in love and making recommendations. And pull out the victory in your life. Why we innately go to the negative, I have no idea, but we're wired that way. We can have 15 positives, and over here we have a minor list of negatives, and we'll go right to the negatives and accentuate that. But the victories are what motivate us, inspire us. So that was a whole sermon to me. Wow. Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to speak to a toolbox? Cassandra and then Shondrea.
I just have one thing. I would say grace. Just recognizing that there is no handbook to being a mother. There is no handbook to parenting. It looks different for every single one of us individually. And just give yourself some grace and know that you're doing the best you can for the situation you're in right now in that moment. And don't think too far into the future. Just allow yourself some grace.
Wow, that's powerful. And God's grace is more than sufficient. So in addition to giving yourself that grace and that mercy that we can on the earth, just know that God has an abundant supply if you would only ask and humble yourself in his face. Shondrea, come on, Queen.
So there are a few things that I would suggest that have worked for me in my toolbox. My first thing is kind of what you were saying earlier, journaling. Journaling has really been therapeutic for me. And there was a lot that I didn't realize that I was dealing with until I put the pen to the paper. And I was just able to just flow and flow and flow. And from those journals, I was able to write a book and write children's books and those kind of things. So I really encourage journaling. Secondly, I encourage people to be mindful of who's in your circle and what you are surrounding yourself with. Because if you want to be happy, you cannot surround yourself with depressed people. You can't be on certain groups. I've had to remove myself from groups on Facebook, just because I was reading the post about mothers who've lost babies. I'm reading. I'm finding myself getting back into this hole that I just got myself out of. So I've had to separate myself from some people, not because I don't love them or I don't care for them, because at this moment I need to protect my own peace. I need to protect my own mind, my own sanity. And so right now, like you said earlier, I have to just say thank you, but no thank you right now. I'm going to choose me. So the biggest thing that I've learned in my toolbox is choosing myself, regardless of how that makes anyone else feel. I'm not going to make myself uncomfortable for the sake of your comfortability. And so I really had to learn that just in my journey through motherhood, is choosing myself.
And I love that, Queen. And you're not being selfish at all when you do that. And to be honest with you, the people who really love and care about you, they'll understand that. They'll understand when you need a break. They'll understand when you're feeling overwhelmed. They're understanding when you're not having that best day and how they need to show up for you. And some people will understand that they don't need to really say anything, but just kind of be there. You have those people that just been a presence for you, and hey, if you need me, I'm here or whatever. It's not that you need advice all the time. It's not that you need guidance and direction all the time. Sometimes you just need to know that people are there. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Yes, Leisha, go right ahead.
Okay, I love this one. So for my toolkit, it's more so kind of observing what has happened. Once I do my observation, then I analyze to the point where I isolate myself, because that's when God really is able to really speak to me, and I'm able to hear him in a very clear and distinct way. So when I'm able to hear him very clearly, I'm able to filter through anything that's going on with me, whether it's friends, whether it's what I'm watching, whether it's what I'm scrolling on Instagram or Facebook. I'm able to filter through what that negative energy is, and then I can reset myself. And when I'm able to reset myself, then I'm able to be around people who might not have that right energy, and be able to create a type of dynamic where I can be able to be myself again. But sometimes I need to reset myself, and in order to do that, I have to isolate myself. But it really starts with observing what happened before.
Wow, that's powerful. Isolate and reset, and know and understand your circle. And I want to encourage you all just to understand as well that everybody can't go with you. And every season is not for everybody, especially when a lot of you have mandates on your lives from God and you have visions that you're orchestrating. Everybody is just not meant for that season, and that's okay. And you part ways and you leave it amicable and you leave it loving and everything else. And a perfect coin phrase of mine is, it's not you, it's me. God is doing a work in my life. Or I'm changing, Queen, because I need to. I want to set example, or I want to go to the next level, or I want to serve God in excellence, or I want to be that professional, whatever it is. I don't need you to take my journey personally. It's not you, it's me. This has been absolutely amazing so far. And Jacoby, if we could bring you back, we're getting ready to set up for a break and bring the dynamic Teresa back to give us a song. So Jacoby, if you'll come on in and take us into break with Teresa, we're ready.
All right, we're gonna, without further ado, I have the honor and the privilege to bring on for another musical selection, Miss Teresa.
Hello, everybody, and it's good to see you again. I just wanted to say that this is an amazing event. I've been listening to these mothers and talking about their stories and stuff, and there's so much strength in these women. And I just want to say that I too am a mother. I have two girls, 26 and 24, and I can relate to a lot of the stuff that these ladies are saying. I had 2 years ago, I had a stroke, and that was a number of things, but mostly my daughter was not happy, and she was explaining that to me, and I could not get control of my emotions long enough to help her. And I think that's what happened. Me having a stroke, but that also was with not taking my medicine. But I really appreciate these ladies, and the song that I think we need to hear right now is How Great Thou Art. I think this song will speak to these ladies' hearts and bring about healing. So let me just sing a little bit, and then we'll go. Okay. Oh Lord, my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the works thy hands have made, I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thou power throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, I shall come with shouts of acclamation and take me home. What joy shall fill my heart and lead me home. What joy shall fill my heart, then I shall bow with humble adoration. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Thank you.
Woo, I felt every bit of that. It's amazing, Teresa. You have a truly anointed and beautiful voice. So thank you so much. How great thou art. God is indeed great. All right, queens. I want you to prepare your mind and heart for the final run. And I want to start by emphasizing discipline. Discipline is very important inside of motherhood. And everyone has their different parenting style as it relates to discipline. But I also want to get at least 3 considerations for how you have chosen to discipline your children and why. Excuse me, if anyone would like to speak to that, please raise your hand and we'll go from there. Excuse my voice. I've been battling all week, but I thought I was going to be able to. But let's start with Shondrea. Then I saw Neesia, and then we'll go to Jennifer. But let's talk about 3 recommendations for discipline.
So I also am a kindergarten teacher. So just with working with children and having children of my own, if there's one thing that I've learned is that there's always a root to the behavior. And so what I try to do is before I label a child as bad or, whatever the terms we may use, I always try to figure out what caused you to make that decision. And so with my girls at home, I always, we do a lot of talking through things. And so I want to understand, why did you do that? What made you feel that way? What were you thinking whenever that, what was going on? And so at our home, we do a lot of verbal communication with them and allow them to express themselves. And oftentimes I find that sometimes they've done things not because they were intending to do anything wrong, they just didn't understand. And so just helping them to better understand through communication tends to work in our home. So that is one tool that I definitely use with my children. We do use timeout as well with them. They're 4, 2, and 5 months old. So babies at home. So we do use the timeout system, just letting them have a moment to sit and think, but I do not make them sit any longer than their age. So my oldest is 4, so she does not sit longer than 4 minutes. My middle child is 2, so she does not sit longer than 2 minutes. And my 5-month, well, she's not in timeout ever. She's a baby. But we do use that method as well here at my home. So those things work for me.
I love that. And we're going to reemphasize verbal communication. Communication is essential, but not only communication, effective communication. And that means that an understanding is achieved. A message is sent, is heard, and it's understood. That is communication. And give your children a voice is very essential. A lot of times we're telling and we're guiding and we're giving, not understanding that our children know a lot. And they've learned a lot just from the environment. So giving them a voice is essential. And I also loved how you said, Shondrea, age-appropriate discipline. Of course, timeout is not going to work for a teenager very well. you have to consider the age of your child, the environment, and appropriate discipline. So I think that is all very beautiful. All right, Nisia, what about you?
For me, I would say I have like a 3 to 4 step discipline process. With in the beginning, so I have two. I have a son, a 7-year-old son, and I have a 3-year-old daughter. So with my son, he was more so he easily listened to anything we said. However, when it came to certain things, he did not listen. So the first step was to always communicate to him what he did wrong. If he did the same thing within like a certain time frame and he did the same thing wrong, we would send him upstairs. After the second time, we do spanking. I don't, I know a lot of people don't believe in that, but that's something that we do. But that was only after he did not understand after the second time. So after we communicate to him what he has done wrong, we also at times have him write down what he feels like he got in trouble for. And when he's writing this stuff down, you can go ahead and see why he is doing certain things and why he feels that it was okay for him to do something. So, and for my daughter, it's something different where for her, we were able to communicate a lot more with her because she has I would say with my daughter, when she understands something, she actually does it right away. So for her, we didn't really do the spanking with her, but mainly just the communication. And she's still young. So we only implemented that probably around age 4 or 5. But it's definitely a step-by-step process that we do first to make sure, okay, you understand what's going on. And now that you do understand what's going on, it seems like we might need to take this step in order for you to really understand not to do this.
And I want to pull from what you said and emphasize that there is no cookie cutter approach to discipline. Meaning what works for one child may not necessarily work well for another. So it's really important that you learn the personality style and what works best for your children, but to have general rules for how you choose discipline. And that truly is up to the parent and the environment and everything else, and understanding what works best for your household. But I love that all of you have said and co-signed the understanding that discipline is essential. I will never forget, I wasn't the one who wanted discipline as a child. I tried to avoid it everything possible. But my mother made discipline monumental, meaning there was a particular situation where I was told to go and clean up the kitchen. I think we had company. It was a lot of dishes, a lot of things going on. And I was like, that was the last thing on my list. So I think she said it once or twice and allowed me to go to sleep. And I got woken up about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And it was not only those dishes, it was the clean dishes, and there was a whole lot of other stuff that I had to do in that kitchen. And you never had to worry about that with me again. So sometimes it's making those disciplinary steps monumental, where that lesson is really cemented, and it makes all the world of a difference. Who else would like to speak to discipline? All right, let's go to Devanya, Tamika, and we'll round it out with Jennifer. Go ahead, Devanya.
Okay, so I'm going to speak from a mom's point of view and an educator, and I'm going to speak from what I've seen over the past 20 years as students or children are different. They are just different than what they used to be. And I'm going to say, Nisha, I also believed in the belt. I believed in spankings. So my sons did get spankings. But I also want to say that one size doesn't fit all. So when I was coming up, my mom, I was the good kid, but my sister used to get whoopings all of the time. She always got whoopings. And my mom, I think what she failed to see is that didn't really work for her. Like there has to be something else that you do. Once you see that this thing doesn't work for a particular child, then there has to be another way that you reach that child. And it's the same thing with education. Like I could yell at a child in the classroom and he'll straighten, or I can redirect them during class, but another student might take that and not like that and just keep acting up. And that may be a student that I need to talk to one-on-one. So it's important as a parent to see that all of your disciplinary skills or whatever methods you decide to use it won't work for all of your children. And so you have to tailor it to the child. It's not everybody gets the same thing. Everybody gets what they need. So, and the other thing I want to say is you have to do what you say. If you say you cannot go outside for a week, then you have to stick to that. You can't waver off that. You can't start and then that be a consistent behavior. Now, if you do that once or twice, okay. But if your kid knows, oh, she said that, but I know that's not going to happen, why would they take you seriously? Or why would that be a disciplinary tool that really works? It doesn't work. And as a teacher, I know, because I'll say, hey, I'm going to tell your mom X, Y, and Z. So she's not going to do anything. Oh, she told me she's going to put you on punishment. No, she's not. I'm going to be outside tomorrow. So those are things that I see on both ends. If you don't do what you say, then you're setting yourself up for failure and the other people around your child who work with you to help you in those discipline methods. And then the last thing I want to say is, and no shade, as they say, to anyone, but sometimes we get confused with trying to be our child's friend versus being their parent. And there's a difference between the two. There's nothing wrong with building a good relationship with your children, because I believe I have great relationships with my children, but I'm not their friend. Maybe now I am because they're adults, but when they were little, we weren't friends. I'm your mother. I am not your friend. You will not talk to me. You will not call me dude. You will not say, bro. I've seen it. I've heard it. You will not talk to me that way. I'm not your friend. I'm your mom. So we have to separate the two, friend versus mom, and building a healthy relationship with our children.
Wow, you dropped a lot of jewels in that. But I love that. Recognize what's not working. I think that's like insanity on steroids when we keep doing the same thing, especially when it comes to discipline. And I tell parents that, I said, don't worry about taking the video games away because it's not resonating. Your child can care less about the video game. So you keep taking that and they keep doing the same thing. Why? Because the consequence is not resonating with them. And honor your word. Do what you say. I don't care how that child comes and, oh, mama, but I'm sorry. Can I go out and do this? No. It is committing to the level of consequence. I love you enough to make sure you understand that what you did was wrong. And to also be a parent. And to be okay with when your child is not going to appreciate you being a parent, because there are going to be those times, and you still stand firm on what you believe. Absolutely amazing. Tamika, we're going to go to you, and Jennifer, then you.
Now, when it comes to discipline, let me say this. This is also something that I'm yet learning. I'm not going to say I have arrived. I'm going to say through every child was absolutely different at the same time. Having all four of them, yet every one of them was a different side of me. So I had to address them differently. And with that being stated, I actually lost one of my daughters through exactly what you're referring to. Disciplining them over and over again the same way, which it was not working. And it was honestly through spanking. I lost one of my children, not so far as physically lost her, but emotionally a bond was broken. I have to say that. 3 of my children, they understood it's fine. We still get along. But to be honest, my grandson that was just born Friday, do you know I was not the first phone call? That broke my heart. And I know it had something to do with the way that I reared her. You know why? Because she told me. And the only reason I know she told me, because later on, after I made mistakes over and over again, I started implementing what you all are talking about, the communication part, where I gave them a right to say, okay, what did I do wrong? Tell me, how did I address this situation wrong? And then I got an opportunity to say, well, this, and this, and this, and the third. And then I had an opportunity to start explaining to them. By this time now, it was already too late for my daughter, this particular daughter. She was already too far gone. I mean, she just shut down completely, stubborn. I don't care. I fight 12 of y'all type mentality that she built up in herself. which now I'm learning that my disciplinary method made her feel unsafe. So with her feeling unsafe, she built this wall. But I got an opportunity to say, this is what you did wrong. Let's address it this way. And now this is where Promise Garden Incorporated would actually founded. This was the foundation. Now I got an opportunity to teach children. I'm bringing children in now by the droves and got parents knocking on the door like, how did you do this? And I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm not talking at them. I'm talking to them, not towards them. You know, I'm addressing the situation. I'm asking them, what can I do to help? What is wrong in this situation? Why did you do this? Explain it to me. Draw me a picture. Show me how you see me in this situation. And sometimes they draw me as this big old mountain, or sometimes they draw me at their eye level. And now when I recognize how they see me, I can recognize where I'm needed in the situation. So now it's giving me a better understanding of discipline. It's giving me a better understanding. Now when I do pre-K, it's different from when I do my elementary students. It's different when I teach my teenagers through cycle changers. It all differs now because I'm learning their disciplinary, what they went through at home. Now I can even address that. I can partner along with their parents and say, how did you address this? Or, you know, bringing a holistic account to discipline, being on one accord. This is not a yes and no world. So I will ask their parents, how are you dealing with this? So I don't undo what you're doing. And that's another thing, being on one accord with babysitters, with teachers, with everybody that's in their life. Like, no, this is not a yes or no world. If I tell them, no, they can't play this video game, they can't come to your house and it's yes. So that's how I handle it.
I love it. And I actually glean from you with that to also make sure your expectations are clear. I hear a lot of kids who are frustrated because they really don't understand the expectation and they don't feel comfortable asking the question. Now that's like a catch-22. It's not even that they want to rebuttal you or battle you. Sometimes children just simply don't understand. So make it a safe place for them to ask. And I love that we've emphasized family therapy here. Because sometimes to rectify situations, even when we realize that we may have misstepped, especially with a particular child, to have a neutral party be able to navigate your way to clarity, to communication, to rebuilding, because we don't want to leave those relationships damaged. We want to address them and repair them. So all of that is very possible. Jennifer, let's go to you.
I mean, I hate to echo what everyone is saying, but I do agree with learning your children, learning their way of thinking, their thought process. Just like we have feelings, they have something to say, you have something to say. Now it's a disrespect, the way and the manner that they might be saying it or how they want to say it. You know, sometimes it can get disrespectful, but it's your job to correct. My kids are 16, 8, and 2. All boys. Very different kids. Age group, very spaced out. They didn't care to play with each other. So I got the triple whammy when it came. It was more like I was starting over every single time. My 16-year-old I had at 22. Some may say that that's not young, but for me it was. I mean, it was the moment where you're trying to do you, so to speak. And for me, I did had quite a bit of help with my mom saying, no, don't hit him, don't do this, just blah, blah. So I didn't really get to really discipline him the way that maybe I would have wanted to. So with him, I became more of a friend to him. The way he would speak, the way he would carry on. Even now that he's 16, I'm still trying to pull in the reins and have like certain conversations with him. And it's still kind of a battle in the sense because he knows, oh, I'll just ask grandma, you know, or something like that. And it's a battle, but I think now that we can communicate and we can try to figure out what we're thinking, what each other is thinking and how we're going to fix the issue. When it comes to my 8-year-old, now him, I guess people would automatically label him as bad. In the beginning, I didn't understand it myself because he was just different from the beginning. And I had to learn at age 3 why he wasn't talking and why he wasn't getting to the levels of the other children, that he had something else going on. It was just frustration because he couldn't talk at 3.5. And later on, I found out he had ADHD. So at that point, we started behavioral therapy. Now, that is a very good source. Like whenever parents can't really, get to that point of what else can they do, we do the behavioral therapy. They give you the tactics of what you can do, how you can manage this situation and stuff like that. So with that, it was very helpful for me. Because in the beginning I started spanking him, and when I noticed I was spanking him a little too often, I felt like it was something way deeper than what I thought. And now the baby, he's still the baby. Everyone's still calling him the baby. He's just a talker, but he is starting to push our button and test us to see how far he can go. And I think with the baby, I'm at a point where I can say and understand, okay, I went through this with this child and that with this child. This child is going to be different. And although we want to think that we'll be able to figure everything out, it's not. I mean, everything is not by the books, but I just pray for me about my 16-year-old, guys. But I just pray and get up and the next day, and I have Jacoby. He is a great motivator, just a speaker to the kids and try to get me to understand, and because I'm that one that's going to be like a dog, like, he's like, no, wait, sit down, listen to what he's saying. And I just, immediately pull back and listen and talk, and that's how we do it. And I don't do the spanking thing anymore because I think that's talking to them is more, it's just working for us at this point.
I think it's beautiful the way you orchestrated that, and thank you for divining each of your children individually for us so we really get a clear glimpse inside of it. I want to emphasize that recognizing what your child is going through, because not only do some children not meet milestones in life, but there are medical issues. You're absolutely correct. There are mental health diagnoses. Autism spectrum is one where the children act and behave very differently. There are really different things. They like to be in their own world inside of their own space. They don't like the invasion and different things of sorts. ADHD, you have a lot of the hyperactivity. They're very sensitive, hypersensitive, the impulsivity. So it's really beginning to know your child, and not just knowing, but creating that village. And you said it expertly that now you have doctors to consider, you have therapists to consider, behavioral health, you have occupational therapy for the sensory issues. You have a lot of different things, your educators. Now you have your school teams, school-based teams, 504 plans, IEPs, all of these different things that come into play, but it should work succinctly together. So thank you for defining that so very well. So we understand that everything is not going to work for everybody, but what you've done is give individuals who are listening to this a lot of considerations, and maybe they'll see their situation inside of it. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to the understanding of discipline and how you've chosen, and we have to be respectful of that, to execute that in your life? Is there anyone else? All right, so I'm going to close this particular segment out with this statement. And that is, your job as the mother is not to be liked. If your child is angry because you said no, don't give in. And that has been emphasized today. Your job is not to lean towards favoritism, but it is to raise a kind, honest, decent individual that this world can appreciate. And discipline is very much important. So this was an amazing round. And now I want you to prepare your mind and hearts as we begin to shift, because now we're going to advance into legacy, because that was the central theme. And legacy is like planting those seeds in the garden, and you may or may not be able to see most of them grow. Legacy is about building a lot of things for when you won't be here, but that you've invested and imparted in your children. So I've talked a lot with the election and the politics and the government about a blueprint, because I believe very firmly in us needing a plan, needing a guiding direction. So ladies, I want us to develop this evening a blueprint. We're going to each contribute to that for building a legacy. We're going to teach people by what we're doing right now or what we know should be done to build a legacy for our children. The works that you have done, how that's going to speak for you, whether you've developed something, written something, created something. Let's talk about building a legacy. And I honestly would love everyone to speak. So let's start with you, Shondrea. Let's talk about building a legacy, and we're developing a blueprint for that.
So for me, my legacy that I want to leave for my children is, so after I lost Adeline, I started my nonprofit, Like a Rose. And Like a Rose is a nonprofit organization. We provide services and support for mothers and families who have lost children. Adeline's middle name was Rose. And so where the nonprofit came from was, I got to think about what I wanted to do to make her story something that could be powerful, that could lead for my children. And I realized that roses all have thorns, and those thorns are hurtful, but a rose needs those thorns in order to survive. And so we as people, we are all like roses. We all have our thorns, those things that we go through that hurt us. For me, it was child loss. For you, maybe job loss, a divorce, car breaking down, whatever it is. But we have to go through those things in order to become the flower, the people that God created us to be. And so with my organization, I have written a book that tells my story. I've written a book for my oldest daughter. It's called I Have a Little Sister. And I wrote a book about all the things that she has said about losing her little sister. I wrote another children's book called When Our Feelings Are in Pieces. And that talks about the feelings that both of my daughters have felt in regards to losing a sibling. And so for me, what I want to do is, I always say that I am the voice. I speak for the grieving mother who feels like she has no voice. And so I want my children to learn to be that voice for someone else. When you see someone that is hurting or that is broken and they feel like they don't have anything to say, I want you to be the one that can speak up for them, let them know that it's okay. You know what you're going through. You're not alone. I'm here with you. I'm here for you. When you can't say it, I will say it for you. So that's what I want my children to be for other people is to be that voice. And so that's what I have tried to be just in this short 2 years of losing a child, is to be that voice for those mothers who have lost babies. I get so many messages from people saying, I had a miscarriage last year, but I'm afraid to tell people. Or thank you for sharing your story because I lost my daughter 10, 15, 20, whatever years ago, but none of my family knows. And so I'm able to be that voice and to start the conversations that other people are afraid to have. And so I want my daughters to be that same thing for other women, other men, other people, their friends, whoever, and like to be that voice for other people.
Wow, that's very powerful. And we want to honor the absence of your daughter, but how you shifted that pain to purpose, organizational development, authorship, and all of those different things. And your emphasis on taking that and blessing other people, educating other people is really beautiful. And there could be no better legacy than how you created that. So thank you very much. Let's go to you, Cassandra. Building a legacy. Let's add to this blueprint.
Yeah, very similar. So I also have a nonprofit organization called the Ark of Noah, and it is geared towards women who have experienced domestic violence and sexual assault. Unfortunately, I am a survivor of domestic violence, and it is with my son's father. So when I talk about the legacy, obviously it is through my nonprofit and the work that we do. In addition, for me, I think it's just allowing Noah to be free to choose to be who he wants to be versus giving him a specific path. He doesn't have to go and get the degree. He doesn't have to take the same path that I took, allowing him the freedom to be an entrepreneur, allowing him the freedom to really grow and be the man that I hope he can be, who God has already instilled in him and ordained him to be. So just really giving him the freedom to grow and being an example to allow him to do that.
Oh, wow, you really resonated with me because I am too a survivor. I am also a survivor of a date rape that was very beautiful, in addition to domestic violence and abuse. So God bless you for what you've chosen to do. And to be honest with you, your organization in this right and what you've taken on is not an easy charge inside of victimization and traumatization. So it's really a beautiful thing. And thank you for how you're setting the tone for your son so we can break the cycle that, is easily set and the stage is set. Excellent so far. Let's go to you, Sonja. How are we working towards building a legacy? Let's continue to develop this blueprint.
As far as me working toward the legacy, by working with Young Men of Distinction and Gentlemen of Distinction, mentoring young men is really helped me as far as having a legacy for my young men. For I can't call them boys anymore because they're 17 and 20, and building that legacy with my cousin is such a blessing. It's so funny because I mentioned to him one day, I know as a single parent, it didn't come with a manual. So that is something that I want to leave with my legacy. I want to work on something geared more toward not just helping the kids, but also helping single parents, because it's very hard out there, and trying to be able to help them with like the resources that they need. And I just thank God being able to work with this organization is really kind of instilled the purpose in my life that that's what I want to do and have that legacy, and that my kids can carry on and do that as well, as far as when they get to be adults, mentoring the kids and also working with single parents.
I think that is very beautiful, and that you've chosen that population because a lot of women gravitate towards young girls. And I say all the time that young men need to understand the wisdom and everything else that comes from an amazing, strong woman. So thank you for imparting that in our young men as they grow and being that undergird for Jacoby. I think what he's doing is absolutely amazing, and I see his heart inside of it. So thank you for co-signing that. That is truly beautiful. Nisia, let's talk about it. Blueprint for legacy.
Okay, so I created a nonprofit, as I stated before, called PALS. It stands for Parenting Advice Leadership Services. It's to help young parents, young parents, and we provide them basic necessities from diapers, wipes. We provide them wellness workshops, educational courses, and financial literacy. We want to basically provide them the resources to be as successful as possible. Because especially nowadays, sometimes you don't have the education or the resources or where to go or know where to go to get to the next level. So we wanted to provide that for them. But I do understand part of my legacy, that is my passion. That's my personal passion. So when it comes to legacy, I want to show my kids that you can pursue your passion. I want to show them that, yes, this is my passion, but I want you to understand and figure out, what do you like to do? What is your vision? What are you trying to create? And for them to see me do my passion, for them to see that I had a vision and actually created it, I think that is more impactful than anything. So for them to see that, I'm starting at a young age for them to be like, okay, let's write a book. Or if you don't want to do that, let's go ahead and sell lemonade or something different where we can see exactly what they like to do, whether it's drawing at a young age, and understand, okay, this is what you like to do. Let's pursue that even more, because now you can use your passion to create something bigger than just a passion.
Wow, that's truly powerful, because I think we started back earlier with saying that we don't always know where to go or how to do or what to do as parents. So to have an organization that is there to help kind of guide and navigate and answer those questions, I think is absolutely amazing. And all of you women, I really want you to understand how powerful your legacies are going to be, because you've chosen things that your children can pick up and carry. These organizations, once they learn inside of them, once they learn how to publish an author or carry that book or whatever it is, for the educators, once you've imparted those seeds and planted those seeds inside of your children, they now can pick up what you've started and continue it on, and it just goes and goes and goes. I know some businesses and organizations that have been in families for generations. They've been around a long time. So it is a very beautiful thing. Thank you so much, Nicia? Am I say it again for me? Am I getting it right? I'm going to honor you, Queen, and get that right before we finish.
You said it right. You said it right.
All right, Nicia. That's a beautiful name.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Devanya, come on, Queen. You've been giving us some good stuff. The blueprint.
Okay, yeah, because I have, when you ask the question, I always jot down notes so I don't forget. But I want my legacy to be a combination of things. First of all, it was already stated, but the attitude that I kind of carry through life, that I can see already through my son, which is like, you can do anything that you put your mind to. If you set out to accomplish a goal, you can do that. And they've seen their mom actually do these types of things, right? And so I can see it in them. They are very confident men. You can't tell them that there's nothing that they can't do. And I would like to, I have granddaughters, and I would love to see them grow to be confident women in themselves, and that be a part of their legacy that they see from their grandmother, that their grandmother is a go-getter, that she accomplishes things. So they will see that I've written a couple of children's books, that I have also started a nonprofit. So another part of my legacy is that I believe we're all here to serve. I believe that God put us here to serve our gifts to the world. That is just something I believe. And so I started the nonprofit because it is service. And I'm hoping that another part of my legacy is that they see that they're out here giving back to the community, that they're serving, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to, God gives us all our own special gifts, but he doesn't give them to us for us. He gives them so that we can share them with everybody else. So that's what I want part of my legacy to be. And then the last thing is a mindset shift. I want to change from generationally, like being consumers and spending all of your money, to now money is a thing that I should be investing. I should be thinking about the people that's coming after me. So I should be obtaining property. So I've just obtained my first investment property, and I'm saying first, we'll see how that works out. But I want to leave something tangible for my children and my grandchildren, so that brings them monetary, because other people in other, nationality, their people are getting money. They get this money because it's generational. So we have to start thinking about our generations that's coming after us. What are we leaving to them? All of our money shouldn't be spent. We should be doing something where we're actually leaving something behind for the people that come after us, so that we can give them a leg up. We deserve to have legs up too. So yeah, I want part of my legacy to be actually something tangible, and starting off with this investment property. When I leave here, it'll go down, it'll pass down to them, and whatever they decide to do with my granddaughters. And so yes, and who knows what else I'll decide to invest in. I've started investing in other things because I want to leave something behind besides life insurance, because most of us get that. But what else can we leave behind for the people after us?
That's powerful. And I love how you're emphasizing role modeling it. Because if we're doing this in front of our children as they're developing and growing, they're able to glean from us and pull from us, and it makes sense to them. We're actually teaching them by design. But I love also too how you emphasize the self. self-esteem, self-confidence, self-awareness, self-appreciation, because it puts the responsibility for us being successful back on us. So yes, you are doing everything as parents and you're laying the groundwork and everything else, but it's not for our children to ride on our coattails. It's for them to become self-sufficient and for them to be able to do things for themselves and be able to take our legacies to the next level. So I think it's so beautiful. And one thing else I want to emphasize before I go to Tamika, then Jennifer, is that inside of these nonprofits, these organizations, businesses, or whatever, we are not trampling on each other. We are not competing with each other. We each have carved out a niche and we're making an impact in different ways. But you see how it works cohesively together? Because Tamika, you may need Nicia with her discipline and parenting and the population that you work with, and Devanya as an educator. Of course, I think all of us could glean something from that. But I want us to learn as a community and as an ethnic group, and it just as generally as a society, for how to work together, how to come together and stay together. Let that be a part of our legacy as well. Come on to me, talk to me.
I have to laugh, Sabrina, because honestly, I was just going to say that. That is the standpoint of the nonprofit, is collaboration. My mantra is together we are stronger, because I believe that there is a piece that may be over here that I need, and I may have a piece that you may need. But I know that with all the loopholes that's been in every organization I've ever been a part of, that we need each other to build that bridge. So I was really going to piggyback just on what you're saying. When I created Promise Gardens, well, I was a founder of it. No one owns a nonprofit yet, but when I had the opportunity to fund this particular nonprofit, it's called Promise Gardens Incorporated. Initially, it was named after one of the gardens. I was going to call it the Gardens. When God gave me the vision, I saw the 5 gardens. So I said, well, Lord, how do you want me to take this? Am I supposed to have one here and have one there? And then I thought about the promise. The promise that I gave to my children is that tomorrow, I've always, even my lights have been off. And you know what I used to tell my kids? Let's get some candles, y'all. We had a campfire. We finna do this. We finna do that. I turned that night in and I said, but tomorrow is gonna be different. So with Promise Gardens, I just have this ideology of tomorrow being different. It was founded to assist our most vulnerable population with learning resources, housing, growth materials, to embrace and restore the innocence of children while increasing success as an adult. With saying that, because I was a surrogate, I was born for another family. And that family decided they didn't want me, so they threw me out. Another family, and it went on and on and on. So the target goal is young women aging out of foster care, because once they get to a certain age, they have no resources. And it also has an outsourced employment program I call GIRL, which is Growing in Real Love, which is dealing with domestic violence and emotional, mental abuse, all kind of psychosocial norms that we deal with as women. Because as we all know, we all carry some luggage. And every time we move on to a different journey in our life, that luggage, we never put that first baggage down. We just add to the baggage we already got on our shoulder. So I want to be there to be able, that support system, to say, hey, let me hold this for you. If you got a buffet, let me show you how to knock that down to a service size. And I believe that's what we're missing in the world now. And that's the legacy I deem to leave, to show my children, you know what? The world doesn't owe you something, but guess what? You owe it. You owe the next person. That person that's sitting next to you, that you don't know what they've been through, guess what? You owe them. The Bible says that we owe no man but to love one another. So how do we project love? How do you see yourself loving someone? And I've had to learn that we don't love people the way we want to love them. We love them how they want to be loved. So that is my goal for the legacy that I'm tend to leave for this 4 and those 2 grandbabies and everybody else that I come in contact with. because I can say me too. I can say me too in every situation. Me too, I've been raped. Me too, I've been molested. Me too, I've been beat. Me too, I've been kidnapped. I've been held hostage. Me too, I've been incarcerated. Me too, me too, me too. So I'm here to say I was gracefully broken. But now I stand, and we can stand together because we are stronger together. And I had to learn that through homelessness, through addiction, through everything that I've been through in life. I had to learn that. So my legacy is to say, it's okay. Keep going. Don't sit there. Take a break. Take a breather. It's okay. You fail. Come here. Come here. Come here. You fail. Come here. And it's okay to breathe and grab yourself and grab somebody else. Don't close the door behind you when you come through it. Leave it open so somebody else can walk through. And come on, let's walk through it together. You know, that's my goal. That's my ambition in life, to say, look, we can do this together. We don't have to compete. We complement. No competition. We complement each other. So that's the legacy.
I absolutely love it. And I honor each survivor on this platform. And I want you to understand that in building your legacy, you don't have to leave out the bad parts. I'm going to say that again. You don't have to leave out the bad parts. We tend to be embarrassed. We tend to want to pretty the ugly up and all of that. But a part of your legacy is leaving the understanding to your children and a whole generation to come how to survive. Because they're all going to need to know and understand that. So you don't have to make the ugly pretty. You make the ugly purposeful. You give it substance. You give it richness. But you be authentic with your children and everybody else. This is my story. And the reason that I'm sharing it is because I want to help and bless somebody else. And in the process, I'm fortifying and uplifting myself. So thank you for the transparency, and thank you for the amazing women on this stage who have survived. And Jennifer, I'm going to use you to close out this question. And before Jennifer speaks, I want to set the stage because I want you women to think. When she's done, we're getting ready to close out. But I want to give each of you an opportunity to speak a good word to those who are listening right now and those who are going to catch this on replay or wherever it may land. Because I feel like whoever sees this, God has ordained for them to see. So I want you to think about a good word that you want to impart and leave with them. But Jennifer, let's round out our blueprint for legacy.
For me, legacy came to me at a later time in life. And when I say later, I mean the last year. I didn't know the importance of leaving a legacy until Jacoby taught me what leaving a legacy meant, with him wanting to do Young Men of Distinction and me watching him go along the way and the downfalls and the uphills and everything that went on. So watching my son be a part of Young Men of Distinction and seeing the different things that he's doing, that honestly, touches me in a whole different level as a mother. And it teaches me along the way. I can only say that what I see in leaving the legacy is what I watched Jacoby do and what I'm learning at this moment. I see him teach about, generational wealth. I had to teach myself that. I am 30-something. And to leave behind things just like Miss Devonia said, leaving behind tangible things for your kids, because other races, they do get that one up, from different generations that is passed along to them. And I think it comes a time for us as, a race, as a culture, to wake up a little bit and see what we need to do for our kids when we're no longer here. I see him support other people's causes. for me, when I was growing up, I was trying to make sure I'm okay. But even when he's not 100%, he supports other people's causes and makes sure that, he's holding a hand, just like Miss Tamika said. But when he closed that door, he got a hand along with him. It's just so much inspiration just coming from him. I see him at times when he doesn't know what to do next. He reflects and he decides what's important at the time. What is going on in the world? When the pandemic happened, he's trying to find a different avenue to get to these kids, with him trying to build this legacy. And I'm like, I need to do something. I felt at that time I'm not doing something right. So for me, it's more of a teachable moment and just learning from him and, sharing his wisdom as being a mentor to these kids. It's awesome. I've never been a part of something like that. For me to see it, for me to be a part of it, it's an awesome thing. And, pursuing his passion. I mean, I can go on and on about it, but honestly, I am just starting to build and trying to figure out what do I need to put up together with Jacoby to leave our kids a fine legacy. And I think for him, he has taken that, he's up the stairs already. And now it's my turn to start climbing those stairs to get to where he's at in that mindset. And I thank him for putting that set of lenses on my eyes, because I didn't see it before. So that's the legacy that I have now. Come to me, maybe in a couple of years, I can give you a true, profound legacy that I'm building, and I can tell you what I'm doing at that moment. But, as for me, I'm going to truly just be there for Jacoby and be there for young men of distinction. And I'm glad I'm a part of a mother's legacy. I mean, I heard so many different, Tamika, you are very inspirational. I mean, I was just blown away. And when I would say this, when Mr. Sabrina had me go after you, I'm like, why she did that to me? But honestly, Miss Sabrina, I've seen you 101 times, maybe not 101 times, but for the past couple of programs that you have done, and being the moderator for that, you've always done an awesome job. And this is just awesome. And the women that's going to watch this after this, I just, hope that they get one thing, if not just one. They watch it and they understand and they feel where we're coming from as a mother, as a woman, as a Black woman. We are just people that are trying to get our kids and our understanding, our mindset to be where, just a more understanding of being a mother and where we're coming from.
I honor you, Queen, and I am going to be the one who continues to pour into you, because you have so many amazing qualities. And I think you're now stepping into the understanding, but to emphasize what you don't even see in you, I think you need those people around you. And I want to charge you with that. But here's what I want to say. Even to recognize your place inside of a marriage and a mother, and to understand that you can be okay with co-signing, supporting your mate. You're learning, you're growing, you're contributing, and then you advance your place into your own. But it's your humility, Queen, that's going to take you far. It really is. But I want you to understand that your contributions are not the same, but they are still powerful. They are still essential. They're still worthy. They're still great. So we honor you for what you're doing in your moment and in this season. And I can only say, watch out. Because I even believe you speaking tonight. It's like, watch out, it's going to come. Tamika is seasoned like with life way to a degree that other people are not. But you watch out, your contributions are worthy. All right, ladies, we're getting ready to close this out. And I'm going to go right into sync circle here as I call everybody. But I want you to think about this. Just because you give birth to a child does not necessarily mean that you have mothering instinct. It does not mean that you are just immediately capable of guiding another human being through life. So I think we've established this evening very well that there are things we must learn, that there's a season of growth, that there's contribution, there is sacrifice, there's a myriad of different things. But my takeaway is when we do it together, we are far more powerful, far more strong, far more capable. And let's start honoring each other for what we see represented. Let's start building each other up and pouring into each other. Let's start really making a difference inside of motherhood and far beyond. So with that, Shondrea, Jennifer, Nisi, Yvonne, Tamika, Sonia, and Cassandra. That's how we're going to round this out. But lady, leave a good word for the people. Shondrea.
So with my nonprofit, I always tell people to embrace their thorns. And so I know that sometimes it may look like it's hard, you know, especially having multiple children. With me, I have little ones, and so they require a lot of my attention and a lot of my time. But I always try to embrace those things that I'm going through, even though that it may not be the best. I embrace it because I know that, again, like I said earlier, I have to go through those things in order to become the person that God has called me to be. Had I not have lost my daughter, I wouldn't be on this thing right now talking to you all, you know. And so we have to embrace the things that we go through because there is a purpose for them. There's a purpose for them all. And I also want to just encourage everyone. Years back, a friend told me you can choose to be upset or you can tell yourself a different story. And so when I find myself in situations with my children or with my family or with my job, you know, I can be upset because, you know, I don't feel like going to work today. I can be thankful that I have a job. You know, I can be upset because I don't feel like cooking, or I can be thankful that I have food in my house. So I always try to find that different story in my life. So I just want to encourage everyone today to just embrace your thorns and allow yourself to feel. Sorry, my baby is in the room now. Allow yourself to feel whatever it is that you need to feel, but just know that there's always a different story that you can remind yourself of.
Thank you, Queen. And the baby has her place because of her. That's just fine with us. All right, Jennifer, a word for the people, please.
I'm actually going to quote something that you said, and I wrote it down because I think it resonated with me. And you said, it's okay to not be okay. It's not okay to stay that way. I want to have the mothers, it's okay. It's okay. You just have to breathe. You walk through it. It may be burning. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. And I just feel like that word okay, it's going to be okay. It's something that mothers and parents do not realize, because I am a warrior. I am one that worries. I have a 16-year-old that drives. I have to tell myself it's okay. He's on the road right now. He's going to work. It's okay. The way the society is, I have to make myself realize and understand that I raised him to be where he's at. And I'm going to be that, you know, I'm going to understand that, or put it in his mind. I want me to realize that what I've fed him and what I've taught him, that's what I can do. How he reacts to it, you know, and how he responds to what goes on out in life when I'm not with him 24 hours a day. He is, you know, honoring his mother and his father. But I want to leave, it's okay to not be okay.
I love that, Queen. And it is okay. But don't stay that way. We got to pick up those pieces and parts. We got to systematically pull ourselves together. We got to keep moving on. But it is okay not to be okay. Yes, ma'am. All right. Nicia, Queen, speak to us.
Okay, I kind of wanted to write something out. So I'm going to be looking down for a little bit, but I wanted to say you only live once, so you want to leave your mark on this world. You want to take calculated risks, be fearless, stay humble and adaptable. Understand you can learn from anyone. I'm constantly learning from my kids. I'm constantly learning from my mom, my grandparents, just anyone that I come across. You can learn from anyone. So if you're constantly humble and you're constantly understanding that there's so much to learn in this world, the sky is the limit. So constantly put yourself out there. It's okay to be uncomfortable. Push yourself to do things that you've never done before, because that's how you can get to the next level. So, yeah.
And there is a next level.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
There's always a next level.
Always,
and once you
always.
get there, there's a next level, and then there's a next level. So we should be constantly achieving, and that is very possible. That's a powerful message. Thank you, Queen. Devanya, speak to the people.
You know, I find it interesting that we go to school to become a teacher. We go to school to become a doctor, you know, a nurse, whatever it is in these professions, whatever it is we decide we want to do with our lives. But one of the most important roles that we have, which is a mother, which I think is the most important role besides a father, those two together, there is no school. There is no test. There's nothing there's no place that we can go to learn how to do the job. It's on the job training, literally. So my message to mothers is don't beat yourself up. There is no school. I believe that if you are doing the best that you can, then you are doing the best that you can. You are doing the job. I think a lot of people would say to me that they thought that I was a good mom. And I am harder on myself than anybody, because a lot of times I'm like, man, you know, but I could have done this and I should have done that. But what I do know is that I did the best that I could with the knowledge that I had. So I have so much more knowledge now than I had when my sons were younger, but I did the best that I could with the knowledge I had at that time. So my point is, if you feel like there are some things that you can be doing better, then attain some more knowledge. Get some more knowledge. How can you do that? By joining these kind of platforms, by going to parenting classes, by reading a book. You can grow in knowledge. There isn't a class, but there's someone willing to talk to you, guide you, anybody that you trust, find you someone you trust. But at the end of the day, don't beat yourself up. There is no class. There is nothing to tell us how to do this. So be gentle with yourself. Be gentle, be kind.
I love that. And there's no OJT. There's no on-the-job training. You go with it. You go with the flow and everything else. That is so powerful. You women are amazingly insightful. And for what we don't have in textbook style and classroom orchestrated style, never forget again that we have in each other, because you women have really dropped some jewels tonight. So I think it's very amazing. All right, Tamika, speak to us, Queen.
But to encourage anyone, anywhere from a younger mother to an older mother, I would say approach it how it comes. Just as Devanya stated, it is on-job training, but it's like no real blueprint to how to mother. There is just no real, if you do it this way, it's going to work out this way. It's not there. Sometimes you can only use what you have. I can only give what I got. So if you done gave all that you can, seek assistance, but don't beat yourself up because of where you are. That's the only thing that I can say. I remember when I gave birth to my first son, everybody was telling me, oh, you're going to fall in love with this baby. As soon as you had him, guess what? I had that baby and I didn't know what to feel. I didn't get those rushing hormonal love, gushy. Oh, I was like, a baby. It's not a baby doll. Playtime is over. You mean to tell me now that you out my stomach, everything, all my time, all my energy now goes into grooming another person? Do you know what kind of headache that caused? Like, you mean everything you got to learn from me, a person that already beat myself up thinking that I don't know enough? Now I got to teach you. So that's my biggest takeaway from a mother. We give and give and give and give. Don't forget to receive. Don't forget to reach out. Don't forget to cry. Don't forget it, because you're going to need that water to water those flowers that you're bringing up. And it is okay. It is okay. Just like Miss Harris said, it's okay not to be okay, but don't stay that way. I tell them all the time, okay, it's a party, not the pity one. We're not going to sit here. We're going to come. We're going to say happy birthday because it's another day, tomorrow. Let's talk about tomorrow. So if I can encourage any one of you, Shondrea, my heart goes out to you. My condolences in regards to the passing of your lovely one. Certainly, I speak strength and encouragement to you in the days when nobody else knows, when it's quiet all around. I speak strength and encouragement to you. Jennifer, you encourage me by having that backbone, by being able to be submissive. Do you know how powerful submission is? To say I come second to my husband, that's power. That's strength in itself. That's taller than I can ever be. Now, I don't know how to pronounce your name, baby, but I think it's Nicia. Nicia, is that right? Okay, Nicia, I applaud you. I applaud you in everything that you're doing, especially because you're catching them where they are. When I was 15, I had an opportunity to be from shelter to shelter, I believe, and I had one family empowerment right there in Revere Beach on Broadway. One little lady that tried to help me until she had no funding. So definitely go forth. These young women need you. Sonja, definitely be there for your cousin and young men. They need you to speak life into them, because this world just beat them up and all tossing them to and fro. And you're there to give them that hug, that nurture, that mother's offer. Do that. Cassandra, embrace them women. They've been battered, they've been bruised, and you can say, me too. I definitely applaud that. I applaud each and every one of you. And I speak encouragement and strength to you, to your feet, to just stand up, to be built up where you've been torn down, to strengthen where you're weak. Miss Harris, I know that you're going to speak to nations and you're going to change lives. And I thank you for giving me this opportunity to say me too. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to say I have a mother that went through her struggle. She went through her flaws, and everybody turned their back on her. And you know what? They gave me up. And guess what? I found my mother by her laugh. I found my mother through her laugh. I was 11 years old. I got into a cab. I rode around the city, and I heard my mother's laugh. I promise you, I put it on a stack of Bibles. I heard her laugh, and I told the cab, that's my mama. And I jumped out that cab and went to running. And sure enough, that was my mama I found in West Palm Beach. That was my mama. So I encourage each and every one of you. I keep hearing Nicia go back to her mother and her grandmother. I didn't have that bond with my grandmother, but now that she's 94 years old, I love that lady with every inch of my life. And now I thank you. I thank each and every one of you all for being a mother to the generation. You have futures, you have generations, and I'm grateful for that. So if I could leave anything for anybody else, I would say this: there is a generation coming after you. Speak love, speak strength, and know that you are strong in your voice. And I will give voice to your tears as much as I can. Tap me on my shoulder, tag me in. I'm it, and I'll be there to give a voice to your tears.
Woo, girl! I feel like I done been to church tonight. I'm just saying. I feel I'm leaving out of here. I gotta go take a drive or do something because I'm all invigorated and inspired. But I return the same to you, Queen. Something about you, Tamika. We gotta have a conversation. But I just want to say this is absolutely amazing. So we're gonna go to Sonja and then Cassandra to close it out. I'm gonna recap the major points that I took away from this, and then we're gonna call it a night. Come on, Sonja. Come on, son.
Jesus. Ooh, let me kind of dry this river. Whew, Lord have mercy. I just want to say, ladies, this has been a fabulous night. When Jacoby first mentioned it to me, it was funny because we was on the same page when they had a father's love. And we had a conversation, long story short. I said, Jacoby, what if we had, he said, cuz I already know what you're going to say, a mother's love. And I said, oh, that'll be great. And then you can have so-and-so. He said, cuz I got some people. He said, but it's somebody else I want to ask. I say, who? He said, you. I say who? And I said, because you know how I am. I used to, believe it or not, be shy. I always had my head down. I really didn't talk a lot. Even through elementary, middle school, high school, I was bullied. I was that shy girl. And when I got to be more older, I realized that being shy, I was very observant. So I was very watchful. And I was told, I'm listening to Tamika's story and I listened to what you said, Sabrina. Don't always make it like it's sweet. I was told by the doctors I would never be able to have kids. So, with that being said, I said, I would tell people, I would say, Mama, I don't really want kids. My mom said, why would you say that? And I said, I just don't want any. But in my heart, I knew I wanted kids. I had my niece, Marquita, she always wanted to hang out with me. And I remember the very day when I was in Publix and I was walking by the frozen food section and my niece said, I said, hold on, niece. I said, I feel a little lightheaded. She said, Auntie, you pregnant. You're going to have a baby and it's going to be a boy. And I said, this girl is crazy because the doctor said I can't have kids. Fast forward, I get a call. They said to me, I said, so it's a virus. That's why I'm not feeling right. And the nurse said, yes, ma'am. It lasts about 9 months. And I said, well, dog, what kind of virus is that? And she said, ma'am, congratulations. I say, for what? And she said, you're pregnant. I said, ma'am, it's Sonia, because, you spell Sonja 3 different ways. So, you got the wrong number. And she said, no, ma'am, this is Sonja Gilbert. I said, Sonja Denise Gilbert. So I'm trying to tell this lady, God bless me. I thank God for my son. And then coming up the ranks, my second youngest son, I was on blood thinners. I had 90% blockage. I had blood clots in my right lung. I was so stressed out, I had forgot to take my pill. And I went to the doctor because I felt lightheaded. And the nurse said to me, Mrs. Gilbert, congratulations. And I said, for what? And she said, you're pregnant. And I said, ma'am, no, I can't be pregnant because I'm on blood thinner. And the lady looked at me and she said, Miss Gilbert, we got to get you to some place because it's called Ribbick at St. Mary's. And she said to me, she said, Miss Gilbert, I want you to remember this one thing. Whatever's been stressing you out, in order to save you and your baby's life, you got to let go and let God. And that's what I did. And my mother, she was very instrumental in that. On the night before I had my son, I had a dream. I saw this curly haired baby. Then I saw this little beady eyed little baby. He had a little short hair. And I woke up and I was crying. Mom said, why are you crying? I said, Mom, something's going to go wrong tomorrow. And she said, what do we do when we feel like all else is going to fail? She said, you pray. And I remember when they induced my labor, being that I was on blood thinner and everything, they had to induce my labor. And the nurse said to me, Miss Gilbert, don't push. And I remember I could feel the baby's head and they put the sheet up and they wouldn't let me see what was going on. And I don't know how long it was because I remember I got ready to kind of black out, but the cord was around his neck. So, sweetie, I'm so sorry for the loss of your child. What ended up happening is, by the grace of God, they did bring him back to life. And that moment changed my life. I said, Lord, I said, you spare my life and you spare my baby's life. Show me what I need to do to not only be a good mom, a better mom, but also play it forward. And as I'm thinking about mother's legacy, Tamika, I'm so glad that you know about your mom. My mom is like my best friend. But when they moved to Georgia, I was like, Lord, now what am I going to do? Because that's my ride or die. She always helped me out as far as raising my children. And God says she's leaving to go to another state. But you got to put your big girl panties on. You know what you have to do. You have to go to me first. And I will guide you. The road's going to be rough. And the going gets tough. And I keep hearing this song in my head. You don't know my story. You don't know what I've gone through. But moms out there, you don't have to go through it alone. You don't have to pretend and put on this mask and feel like, oh, everything's okay. Everybody always called me sunshine, but no one ever knew the things that I had gone through as a single parent. But God knew. He said, and so when Kobe came to me and told me about Young Men of Distinction, he thought that it was going to be me helping them. But they actually have helped me. I've learned how to talk more to my kids and not at them. I learned I don't have to be superwoman. I don't have to pretend like I can do this, I can do that. I can go here, I can go there. I've learned I've kind of got to breathe and just be that mom. And so when I hear them say to me, Mom, I thank you. And someone said to me the other day, they said, you got two sons? How old are they? I said 20 and 17. They ever been in jail? You be thinking about things like that. I say, you know what? All I know is this. God has his hands on me and on my children and on my family. He has his hands on this panel. He has his hand on all of us. We just have to keep the focus. We have to let go and let God. Yeah, do we walk to the valley of shadow of death, like Joel Osteen say, don't mean stay in the valley. So moms, when you out there and you feeling like all else is it's gone, all you have to do is just look up. Reach out to somebody. Tamika, I'm telling you, all you ladies on here blew my mind. But Tamika, you made me realize through everything that you went through, you still got joy. So the little simple things that I used to be, feeling so sad and depressed and everything, it made me realize God said, you know what? There's always somebody got a different story than you. And I thank you, ladies. I hope that we be able to keep in touch. And I'm so thankful and glad to be on this Mother's Love with you all.
I want to say to you, Sonja, and I'm just going to take a minute to pause because I believe in honoring God. There's a ministry inside you. So whether you realize it or not, your co-signing for Jacoby is the foundation for you to begin to build what God has invested inside of you. So you prove that tonight by your willingness to share, by your willingness to show your emotions, that there is greater. And that these stories that you have kept silent, the voice that you had not spoken with, God is now going to use that mightily. So get ready for him to use you because your purpose has been revealed tonight. So I want you to hold on to that. You've listened to everybody else's ministry and honored their purpose, but now yours is being ready to be fulfilled in a mighty way. And you're going to bless a lot of people. So God bless you. All right, Cassandra. Bring it all home, Queen, as we close this out.
Ooh, there's some tough acts to follow. So I would just like to leave the group and those that are watching with life's a journey. There's going to be a lot of things that are thrown your way that will cause your crown to shift just a little bit. But no matter what you've been through, no matter what mistakes you've made, no matter where you are right now in this very moment, God sees you. He's with you. He'll heal you. He'll mend you. And most importantly, he'll make you new. So it's never too late. Nothing's too bad to keep you from reclaiming your crown.
Woo! Reclaim your crown. All right. Quick recap, and we're going to close this out. All minds and hearts on one accord. Embrace your thorns. Thorns have a purpose. You can choose to be upset, or you can choose to tell yourself a different story. It's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to stay there. You only live once. Take calculated risk. Be open and teachable. There really is no on-the-job training per se. You don't get several weeks to master something. You get in it, you do it, you learn, and you process things along the way. Be teachable. Do the best that you can and know that your best is enough. Learn how to be gentle. Approach it as it comes. Don't forget to receive as well as give it. Your tears water the flowers. Man, there's a generation coming after you. You have responsibility inside of it. You don't have to always make it sweet and pretty. It is what it is, and that's good enough. Let go and let God. Pray when all else fails. You don't have to go through it alone. I think we proved that here tonight. And Queens, if each of you will please leave your contact information on this thread. Let's be good about loving on each other and connecting and sharing the resources with the public. And I'm going to close this out with this. No matter what, God sees you. He's with you. He loves you. And he will take real good care of you. My God, y'all blessed me tonight. I honor each of you in your capacity. I pray over you. And may God continue to keep you as well. As we close out what has absolutely been an amazing session of Mother's Legacy. You all have a good evening. God bless.